everything up now. The first question, we'll start with you, Tamer, okay? The single most important action Egypt should take in the next 12 months to accelerate its digital transformation. One or two things.
اعتقد ان هو الانتجريشن تو ريموف سايلوز خصوصا في الجزء الحكومي ده هيخليك
ريموف سايلوز.
انت عندك اي حاجه حكوميه انت بتروح تخلص هنا وتخلص هنا. لو انت عندك يونيفايد سواء للمواطن او للشركات انت بتروح مكان واحد عارف انت الداتا بتاعتك فين، عارف انت هتعمل ايه، الورك فلو ماشي لوحده. احنا شفنا المصريين عاملينها بس في الخليج.
Okay, thank you, Tamer. Professor Greda, the one skill every Egyptian professional must develop by 2030, not just tech worker, everyone. The one most very important skill.
Prompt engineering.
Prompt engineering, oh my god. Prompt engineering, not critical thinking, not problem solving. Prompt engineering. This is very bold, Professor. Okay, third one. One word for what most at risk if Egypt does not act boldly on digital transformation. هندفع كام؟ ايه الخسائر؟
هنبقى ورا
جامد يعني؟
جدا.
Okay.
جدا.
Okay.
Full stop.
Thank you. Okay. AI in Egypt by 2030. Honest prediction. Optimistic, cautious, or something in between. حاسك متفائلة كده بس يعني.
Optimistic. I'm optimistic by nature.
Okay.
No, I'm optimistic because we're currently working again on the regulation.
Elon Musk is not optimistic. You are optimistic.
I am optimistic, yes. I'll tell you why. Because AI in Egypt will never replace humans. So it will be kind of an assistant for us if properly used with proper data sets and again the government.
If AI does not vanish humans.
I hope not.
Okay. Professor Shireen, the last question. What's Egypt's single greatest underutilized asset in the global digital economy? شايف أكتر حاجة غير مستغلة فينا في مصر إيه؟
الهيومن تالنت. احنا بننفست قوي في الانفراستراكشر وما بنعملش انفستمنت اطلاقا في الهيومن تالنت. ولما اتكلمنا على الديجيتال ترانسفورميشن لما بنقول الانتجريتي يعني التكامل مع كافه الجهات، انت محتاج في موظفين الدوله يعني حاجه تانية خالص. انت محتاج تعلم اليوزر ازاي يستخدم الديجيتال ترانسفورميشن. فالتالنت والشباب اللي قدامنا دول يحولوا مصر في حته تانية لو تم استغلالهم استغلال سليم.
Actually, this inspired me for the closing line, I should say now. What strikes me across every conversation we just had is the gap in Egypt's digital future is really about technology. I think it's not about technology. It's about trust, governance, talent, right? And the courage to design system for people, not just for metrics. Thank you to our 5 panelists for giving us depth, not just data. We have the pleasure for having you today. It was very pleasure and insightful today. Thank you.
Thank you for you.
ممكن تساعدونا نشكر الباناليست النهارده وعلى الوقت والانسايتس اللي هم ادوهم في السيشن. هبدا ببروفيسور شيرين عبد القادر، one of the greatest professor I have ever met. بصراحه عملوا مجهود عظيم جدا وشكرا جدا انها جت. Thank you. And the certificate of course. And the second trophy goes to Professor Naveen Labib. The delightful Dr. Ahmad Radwan, Professor Ahmad Radwan. Thank you for being here. From 2B, everyone can have a laptop by the end of the day from 2B. هذا البيسو. دكتور محمد أسامة جري. We need a ground applause for him. And now my friend, he's a colleague. We graduated at the same year, from the same class, from the same department. Engineer. Engineer Tamer Sharif. Happy welcome. Can we have a professor? Can I have one last one?
Thank you very much for the panelists. Right, ladies and gentlemen, now we start the presentations. I'd ask everyone to take their seats, please. ambassadors will kindly help us with the chairs. Sorry, off the stage. Thank you very much. Thank you. Dean and Shahd, would you please? Right. Professors, ladies and gentlemen, I'd ask you to take your seats, please. That's fine. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, esteemed guests, first of all, thank you to panel 2 for their rich insights on AI. It's been a quite fruitful discussion. We're so honored to have you. Now we start with the most prominent part of the day of Nova Expo. Karim, professors, can we have seats, please? So, ambassadors, please take your seats, please, because we're going to start the presentations. Thank you. At the heart of the Expo lies one of the most prominent presentations for today. Our own senior students, Shahd and Zina, will be presenting to us today something which is inspired from a global crisis, taking actually place all over the world and inspired by the Iranian war and what happened in the war. They decided to utilize this and work on it and get out of it a business idea, which is very innovative, and we would love to listen to it. Their project is entitled Reframing Business Continuity, Plan a Sustainable Supply Chain Strategy for Procter & Gamble. We will listen to their presentations, their narrative, their storytelling, and you'll know how the entire idea came to existence. I'm going to leave you with their presentation.
تخيلوا كده في يوم تدخلوا السوبر ماركت تلاقوا البيسك نيسيسيتيز اللي انتم متعودين تجيبوها مش موجوده. الديودرنتس، الشامبوز، اي حاجه انتوا كنتوا متعودين تجيبوها for your families or even for yourself, it's not there anymore. الشيلفز كلها فاضيه والالترناتيفز كلها البرايسز الدبل والتريبل. فكركم ايه اللي ممكن نعمله في موقف زي ده؟
هو ده بالظبط الفوكس بتاع البروجكت بتاعنا. We decided to focus on an idea, a simple idea, from disrupt to impact. This means that we're looking at how we can take a moment of supply chain disruption and transform this into an opportunity to redesign our systems into something that's smart, something that's sustainable, and something that can last. We decided to focus on a business, specifically Procter & Gamble, and see how their business continuity plan could be created. To start, let's think of how we define today's global supply chains. Sure, they work, but they work under conditions that conditions are stable. And this isn't always the case in today's market. This is especially evident in March of 2026, after tensions in the Middle East and the Strait of Hormuz rendered the most critical trade route in the world to collapse. This meant that ships now had to reroute around the Cape of Good Hope. This means going around Africa, this means extra distance, and this means extra time. However, if we take a step back, we can start to think, what does this tell us about the supply chain systems? we can see that there's a gap in our systems where the system that we thought was efficient is actually completely dependent on just one trade route. This means the system is not actually as efficient as we think, and it's very fragile. Sure, the Cape of Good Hope sounds like a good idea at first, and it keeps the products moving. And eventually, yes, the products will reach consumers, but at what cost? If we dive deeper, we see that going around Africa means that we increase CO2 emissions by 70%. Not only that, but it also increases our transport costs, which is eventually felt by us as consumers. It also means that, more importantly, as consumers, we want our products fast. A relocation like this would mean that products actually take 3 to 4 weeks in delay.
And this is exactly why we chose to focus on P&G, because not only it's a global fast-moving consumer goods leader, but كمان it focuses on having the main priority, which is achieving the net zero emissions by 2040. ده طبعا غير ان احنا كلنا عارفين ان P&G شغاله على global scale كبير جدا. If we take one problem that this company has, we're not solving it for one market or one region, we're basically solving it worldwide. If we dive deeper, هنلاقي كمان ان الامارات عندها اكبر distribution hub ممكن نلاقيه ل P&G. بتديستريبيوت لاوروبا، للميدل ايست، واهم نقطه كانت بالنسبه لنا ان هي it does distribute to Asia. وهنا جات لنا الفكره بتاعه البروجكت كله، ان why not relocate لاكبر باتش الامارات بتديستريبيوت ليها. اول حاجه فكرنا فيها هي الهند بصراحه. You might ask yourself why. احنا بالنسبه لنا كانت الهند a very strategical geographical location. Not only is it centralized في Asia، فهي عارفه to serve الماركتس اللي الامارات كانت already عارفه بتسيرف ليها قبل ما المضيق يتقفل، بس كمان هي بتلور الكوست، هو كان احسن واكتر اوبشن افوردبل لينا، وكمان it shortens the distance compared to relocating to any other region. لما نيجي نفكر هنلاقي انه we have two pillars which are the most important لينا كشركه وكعالم. الكونسيومر من ناحيه والانفايرمنت من ناحيه. احنا كده الكونسيومرز we focus on their satisfaction، واكتر حاجه انا ككونسيومر ممكن احتاجها هي ان البرودكت بتاعي يوصل لي بسرعه جدا وما يوصليش بسعر غالي. And this is exactly the problem we're trying to solve by relocating to India. Not only we reduce the total distance by 80% and lower the cost by 30%، احنا كمان عارفين نركز على الناحيه الثانيه which is having a very environmental awareness بالذات كشركه زي P&G، وده اللي احنا عرفنا نوصل له بالظبط by reducing the total carbon footprint by more than half. وهي دي فكره البروجكت بتاعنا، ان احنا ننشر awareness اكتر على حته الانفايرمنت.
احنا كنوفا SBE students عارفين انه there's no project that can be made without considering the sustainability. And that's why in our project we made sure that we aligned our resilience plan with global impact and SDGs. We did it in more than one area, starting with economic stability. At the end of the day, the first group to feel the impact of the price changes are low-impact economies. These are the people that depend on the prices to be low, and these are exactly the people we're protecting through our resilience plan. We also cover the SDG of infrastructure and innovation, because we're actually building resilient infrastructure that can withhold any disruptions or any volatility in the market. One of the other most important SDGs is responsible consumption. We make sure we waste nothing that more than we need to by making sure that the route is exactly the amount of nautical miles that are needed to get the product from A to B, nothing more. By reducing the waste, we also meet our climate action goals by having a drastic reduction in carbon footprint and our CO2 emissions.
When we started this project in March, we eventually knew the Strait of Hormuz won't stay shut forever. It will eventually open, which is exactly what's happening دلوقتي. وهنا جات لنا فكره ان احنا نترانسفورم from a surviving plan to a business continuity resilient plan لينا. وهنا قدرنا نفكر ان احنا why not have two hubs بما ان اوريدي انديا بقى لها شهرين شغاله، احنا كمان دلوقتي ممكن نشغل الامارات بحيث ان هما الاثنين التو ديستريبيوشن هابس دول ممكن يقدروا يسيرفوا على الماركت ونقدر نفوركاست الديماند ونسبلت عشان نعرف نالوكيت الريسورسز بتاعتنا in the most efficient way. ده غير طبعا ان احنا يبقى عندنا flexible shipment.
To conclude, one of the main takeaways from our project is that we saw that people, profit, and the climate are no longer mutually exclusive. We can actually create a project that works together to incorporate all of these into one resilient plan. And sometimes the most impactful innovation is not creating something new, but instead it's redesigning the systems that we've accepted for so long. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you. Any questions for the ladies? No questions? Okay, thank you so much for listening. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we have buses. We're running on a very tight schedule. That's why we're sorry we'll not be able to have room for questions. Now we're moving to the second presentation, and from environmental engineering, we have our senior student, Malak Bekhit. Please welcome Malak to the stage. Malak would like to talk to you a little bit about a little story till we open the presentation.
Hello. Imagine with me a scenario. You're in the middle of the Eastern Desert in Egypt, and a new remote construction site is being built. Everything's there, but one thing: fresh water, fresh potable water. So what shall we do? Now imagine a second scenario. You're walking in the middle of summer, it's August, the temperatures are extremely high, humidity is even higher, and then you see small droplets of water on a leaf. What is that? That's condensation, that's basically dew. And that was basically my entire project. I'd like to introduce Desert Pulse. Good morning, everyone. My name is Malak Mahmoud Bekhit. I'm an environmental engineering student at Nova, and today I'd like to talk about my graduation project. Just a few minutes. There's a problem with the presentation.
We're just fixing a little technical issue.
Yes. I redo it? Hello, sorry, I'll start again. Imagine with me a scenario. You're in the middle of the Eastern Desert in Egypt, and the temperatures are extremely high, the humidity is even higher. A remote construction site is being built. There's one thing that isn't there: fresh potable water. Now imagine a second scenario. It's August, the temperatures are also extremely high as well as the humidity, and you start seeing small droplets of water on a leaf. What is that? That's the dew. And that was the main point of my entire graduation project. Good morning, everyone. My name is Malak Mahmoud Bekhit. I'm an environmental engineering student at Nova, and I'd like to introduce my graduation project, Desert Pulse. powered by air, built for life. Basically, Desert Pulse is a solar atmospheric water generator that creates water from nothing. It basically uses the phenomena of condensation to start this entire process. This entire system is 100% solarly powered. It's 100% built in Egypt, and we could generate around a cup of water every 6 hours in only the prototype for around 3,000 Egyptian pounds. So it's extremely affordable as well. So how does this entire system work? First of all, the system starts by collecting the data, and then it starts processing the data. It starts processing the data from the temperature and humidity sensor. And then the main important part, the dew point calculation. It starts calculating the dew point to figure out the efficiency, where then the system starts taking smart decisions as to whether start the system, turn it off, or start powering the battery. Then the system starts generating water. The system also has a dashboard and an alert system. What is that? The system showcases the temperature and humidity as well as the calculated dew point. The dashboard is a bit different. What does it do? It basically shows the live data from my monitoring system as well as the weather from the weather stations. Why does it do that? To make sure that my monitoring system is 100% functional. The system also shows decision logic. I just can't trust a system. I can't trust an electronic. That's why there's a decision logic. The system also showcases the humidity versus efficiency, and it keeps regenerating every few minutes. It also shows the temperature and dew point, and it shows the condensation gap. What's the point of this condensation gap? It shows whether, if there's a potential of condensation. Okay, the system has two different applications. Large scale and small scale. What's the difference? The small scale one is mainly used for caravans, portable homes, emergency use, and it's just a bit of a bigger version than my prototype. While the larger scale one, it could power an entire community. It could give them a water supply, as well as it could also provide water for an entire community. Okay, now for the impact and feasibility, the main important part. This entire project only costed around 3,000 Egyptian pounds, which is great. As I mentioned before, it generates around a cup of water every 6 hours, which is nothing, because this is only the prototype. As I mentioned, it has dew point activation, it has adaptive operations, real-time monitoring, and zero grid dependency. What does that mean? It's 100% solar powered. It also aligns with SDG goals 6, which is clean water and sanitation for all. 7, which is affordable and clean water, as I mentioned, clean energy. As I mentioned, it's powered by renewable energy, and it does produce a renewable energy, which is water. Also with SDG 9, 12, and 13. Now for the future developments. The most important part. Any good project should have future developments. What are mine? What are Desert Pulse's future developments? The first one is that a mobile app will be done. It will be, right now there's only a dashboard. In the future there's going to be a mobile app that actually measures that actually has a chat bot that we can ask. For instance, let's say we're going to use this project in agricultural use. We got this system, we put it there, and then the bot just keeps answering the questions. Oh, is it the right time for irrigation or not? And it also is applied for any other project. The second one would be a machine learning-based predictive condensation optimization. What does that mean? The system is going to, each area has a different climate. So we can't just use the same model for every single climate. That's why we're going to be optimizing the potential of it based on the climate, because there are varied climates. There's going to be, hopefully one day, an expansion across the MENA region and internationally. Also, there's going to be a recalibration for varied climates and based on the threshold. And also, this continuing continuous atmospheric monitoring data could be sold as log data for researchers. Thank you, everyone. Before I end, I'd like to thank I'd also like to thank my supervisor in this project, Dr. Ahmed, as well as two really prominent people that helped me a lot in this entire project, which is Engineer Omar as well as Engineer Kadwani. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Malak, for this amazing presentation and for the sustainability ideas that you put on the table. Now we move to IMS, Information Management. And we're expecting two promising ladies on the stage, senior ladies, Rawan and Hala, which will walk us.
Can we start with Hassanin as per the sequence, then we'll get back till you send it to me?
Okay. So till we have their email, their live presentations, and we're going to move back to engineering. And welcome to the stage, the senior student Ahmed Hassanin.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ahmed Hassanin, and I am a soon-to-be graduate studying at NOVA, Industrial Engineering and Management. And I wanted to start today's pitch by first asking a question. What is an industrial engineer? What is his main role? And what is the importance of data analytics in our day-to-day jobs? Well, to put it simply, inshallah. Okay, to put it simply, industrial engineers are problem solvers. They basically acquire a set of skill set and tools throughout their career that they utilize in order to solve a problem or an issue at hand. And this is the main message behind today's pitch. And this is why I actually have the privilege of standing here in front of you today presenting my pitch. Okay. Throughout the hunt for our internship, we had the chance to visit one of the biggest factories for printing and packaging in Egypt, Mus for printing and packaging, and we had the chance to take a tour at the place in order to see if we had something in there to do our internship with. And throughout our tour, we always heard a question that was repeated every time: why do we always lose so much? And this is, and as we were taking our tour, we came to their cutting station, and instantly a bulb was lit in our minds. Their cutting station was manual. And the cutting station being manual was the answer to their question, which is why we lose a lot, and they didn't even know it. The reality was this. Basically, the cutting station being manual meant that there would be a lot of room for human error, and that only meant loss of raw materials and waste. As you can see over here, 10% of the weekly jobs were repeated due to human error, which is a very big number, because in fact, as you can see here, 60% of total variable costs contributed to mainly by raw materials. And as soon as you put in a cutting job with 1 centimeter off, it's the raw material goes completely useless and it's all thrown away. Also, as you can see, we had a lot of work in progress at the cutting stations before and after it, which only caused an increase in production time, idle time, and also lead time. And this is when we knew what is the exact solution to this problem. We decided to implement a PLC HMI system that turned this cutting machine, the same exact cutting machine by the way, from an old-fashioned cutting machine into a fully semi-automated system that only requires 2 things: push to start and push to stop. Because our machine had a volatile memory that stored the frequent jobs that came to the printing company, as well as an easy-to-use guide system for cutting and for implementing the systems as well. And the results were extremely impressive. As you can see over here, the idle time increased by 70% because basically now it's fully automated. There is no reason for waiting, whether we're waiting on the manual worker or whatever that may be. And as well as the lead time, it decreased by 65%. Lead time meaning delivery time. It's all impressive numbers really. And human error as well. Human error went to a negligible percentage. Human error, you can say, was basically completely deleted because the machine is semi-automated, so mistakes are narrowed to very close to 0. As well as the total waste of raw materials, which comes after the automation, it decreased to 85%.